The studio lights of ABC's The View burned with their usual intensity, but on this particular morning, they would illuminate something far rarer than daytime chatter, a genuine moment of unscripted truth. The cameras rolled as Whoopi Goldberg, queen of daytime television and liberal lightning rod, leaned forward with that familiar look of impending judgment. Across from her sat Karoline Leavitt, young, composed, and distinctly out of place in this lion's den of progressive opinion makers. Karoline's pale blue blazer and subtle silver cross necklace spoke volumes before she'd uttered a single word. She wasn't there to blend in. She wasn't there to be liked. She was there to speak. What happened next would ricochet through America's cultural landscape with the force of a revelation. Are you ready to witness the moment that transformed a routine interview into a generational confrontation? The 6 minutes that would launch hashtags, spawn movements, and leave media titans stunned? Stay with me. This story isn't just about politics. It's about courage in the face of intimidation, and what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable host. The tension began to build immediately. So, Karoline, you say you represent the future of America, right? Whoopi asked, her tone dripping with skepticism. Yes, ma'am, Karoline replied with unexpected ease. The kind of future that remembers its roots. The audience offered polite applause, but beneath it, a current of unease was already circulating. This wasn't going to be a typical softball segment. Whoopi crossed her arms, a defensive posture viewers rarely witnessed from the typically commanding host. You mean the kind of America that silences voices? That rolls back progress? She challenged. The trap was set. This was where guests typically stammered, backpedaled, or sought middle ground. But Karoline didn't blink. I mean the kind that doesn't confuse activism with Hollywood scripts, she replied. The studio gasped. Even the cameramen flinched. Then came the moment that would launch 1,000 memes. Whoopi leaned in, face stern, voice cutting like a blade. People like you are what's wrong with America. The studio fell silent. Joy Behar, rarely at a loss for words, went completely still. Sunny Hostin shifted uncomfortably in her chair. The control room producers held their breath. This was the kill shot, the line that had ended countless debates on this very stage. But Karoline didn't crumble. She didn't rage. She simply looked Whoopi directly in the eyes, lowered her microphone slightly, and delivered the line that would soon break the internet. And people like you confuse a studio audience with the real world. A single gasp turned into scattered applause. The control room erupted. Someone whispered, "Go to commercial." But it was already too late. If you're watching this and thinking, I wish I could have seen their faces, hit that like button now. The expressions in that studio were worth 1,000 words. Karoline wasn't finished. She turned back to Whoopi with fire behind her measured tone. You've had decades to tell your story, Whoopi. Now let me tell mine. And this time, America's listening. The audience erupted. Online, the clip hit Twitter in under 5 minutes. Hashtag Karoline on The View was born, and the war of words was just beginning. Have you ever witnessed someone stand their ground so effectively against overwhelming odds? Share your thoughts in the comments below. When the show returned from commercial break, the air in The View's studio crackled with electric tension. The panel had visibly shifted in their chairs. The control room frantically warned producers to calm things down. But the internet had already decreed. This was no longer a typical daytime segment. This was a televised showdown. Karoline sat tall, chin lifted, eyes locked on Whoopi. The slight glow of the cross at her neck created a striking visual contrast against the heat building in the studio. She had grown up watching this show from a modest living room in New Hampshire. She knew the format. She knew Whoopi's rhythm. But she wasn't there to play along. Whoopi attempted to laugh it off. Oh, honey, I've had more debates than you've had birthdays. Karoline didn't smile. Maybe, but you've spent those years talking at people, not to them. The crowd stirred, caught between amusement and anticipation. Joy Behar cut in with a dismissive wave. So what now? You're the voice of the people? Karoline didn't even look her way. No, I'm the voice of the people who don't sit on stages like this. People who don't get applause for blaming America every morning. That line hit like a lightning bolt. A few claps. A couple of shocked gasps. Sunny Hostin leaned forward, trying desperately to steer things back to safer territory. But Karoline, don't you think progress involves questioning power? Speaking out against injustice? Absolutely, Karoline answered smoothly. But questioning power isn't the same as hating your country, and too many people in this room have forgotten the difference. If you're feeling the tension through your screen right now, smash that subscribe button to see more cultural confrontations that changed America. All eyes turned back to Whoopi. She smiled tightly. You've got rehearsed lines. That doesn't mean you've got answers. I don't rehearse. I remember, Karoline said, almost whispering. I remember where I came from. My father worked double shifts to keep us afloat. My mother prayed in silence when the power got cut. That's where I learned what struggle really looks like. The crowd went quiet. No applause, just listening. Whoopi tried again. That's not unique, Karoline. Everyone's got a story. Then why do you only listen to the ones that fit your script? Boom. Twitter exploded. She said, that on The View, read one trending post. Hashtag Karoline vs Whoopi started climbing charts. Reaction videos were already being uploaded by the dozens. Back in the studio, the silence gave way to palpable tension. You talk over everyone else, Karoline said calmly, but not me. Backstage, a producer whispered frantically into Whoopi's earpiece, urging her to shift topics, to lighten the tone. But Whoopi wasn't backing down. Her pride, her legacy, and her brand were on the line. This wasn't just an argument anymore. It had become personal. Whoopi sat forward, eyes narrowed. Karoline, you sit here on behalf of an administration that's rolled back women's rights, marginalized communities, and glorified division. Don't play the victim. Karoline didn't flinch, her tone sharpened like a scalpel. You mean the administration that put food back on shelves, defended faith in schools, and secured the border? You call that division? I call that fixing what you ignored. The audience buzzed with mixed reactions. Joy Behar raised her brows, half amused. Sunny Hostin shifted uncomfortably. But Whoopi doubled down. We gave a voice to the voiceless. You silenced them. And then Karoline pulled out her trump card, quite literally. From her blazer pocket she extracted a folded sheet of paper. The movement was smooth, deliberate. She held it up for the camera. You want to talk about silencing? Here's the segment The View cut last season. Your show canceled a young Latina mother who dared to speak against lockdowns. Why? Because her pain didn't match your narrative. The screen behind them lit up with clips of the woman speaking, cut mid-sentence, flashing briefly before the control room yanked the feed. But the damage was done. Whoopi's mouth tightened. You don't understand editorial standards. No, Karoline shot back. I understand editorial agendas. Twitter exploded again. Karoline brought receipts on The View. Whoopi's face when she saw the clip. OMG, Karoline's not playing. She came loaded. Even Sunny, in a rare moment of neutrality, sighed. Maybe we can agree things have gotten too filtered, too one-sided. Karoline nodded. Truth isn't offensive unless you're used to controlling the story. The audience clapped, tentative at first, then stronger. Whoopi leaned back, visibly rattled. Karoline folded the paper, tucked it away, and smiled faintly. I'm not here for applause. I'm here to remind people that the truth still matters, even if it's uncomfortable. And for the first time in recent memory, Whoopi Goldberg didn't have a comeback. The silence on set felt longer than it was. If you believe in speaking truth to power regardless of the consequences, drop a comment below with the word courage. Whoopi cleared her throat, clearly regrouping. You know, Karoline, I've been in this game a long time. You don't know what it's like to be a black woman speaking truth to power since the 80s. Karoline didn't dismiss the weight of that statement. In fact, she nodded slowly. And I respected you for that. I still remember watching The Color Purple with my mom. She cried. You stood for something raw and real. A pause. But what happened? Somewhere along the line, you stopped speaking truth to power and started protecting the ones in power, as long as they aligned with your politics. Whoopi's jaw tightened. That's not fair. Isn't it? Karoline's voice remained steady, her tone controlled but surgical. You once challenged presidents. Now you excuse them, as long as they check your boxes. The crowd was stunned. Whoopi wasn't used to being analyzed this way, especially not live, especially not by someone half her age. Joy tried to shift the tension. Ladies, let's remember this is a conversation, not a courtroom. Karoline's eyes didn't move from Whoopi. Then stop trying to silence testimony. Boom. A younger audience member in the front row let out an audible, "Whoo!" The camera caught it. Online, the meme machines went wild. Twitter lit up with side-by-side images of young Whoopi versus current Whoopi, one holding a protest sign, the other sitting behind the view desk in silence. Karoline folded her hands. "You paved the way, Whoopi, but now you're blocking it." That sentence hit harder than anything before. The control room scrambled. "Go wide shot. Delay camera 2. Cut mic if needed." But it was too late. "She's going viral. We can't stop this now." Whoopi tried to reclaim the floor. "I've never blocked truth." Karoline leaned in. "Then stop acting like mine doesn't count." Want to see how America reacted to this watershed moment in media confrontation? Hit subscribe now. Our next video breaks down the aftermath. For a moment, it was as if two generations stood on either side of the same battlefield, one forged in fire, the other forged in friction. And only one was willing to burn the whole script to speak freely. Karoline's final line, "Then stop acting like mine doesn't count," hung in the air like thunder after lightning. The studio audience froze, half in awe, half in disbelief. Even the normally chatty Joy Behar sat still, her pen tapping nervously against the table. Whoopi finally spoke, slower now. "I've fought for justice my whole life. I don't need to prove anything to someone who's only just arrived." Karoline didn't blink. "But that's the problem, Whoopi. You've stopped proving it. You think legacy replaces accountability." The audience stirred. Applause tried to build, but was smothered by tension. Karoline leaned slightly forward, not aggressive, but unyielding. "Let's talk facts. In 2009, you defended Roman Polanski. You called it not rape. Do you remember that?" The studio went cold. Whoopi's expression shifted, a rare look of discomfort cracking her composure. That was taken out of context. Karoline held her ground. "Maybe. But did you ever apologize? Did you ever face the survivors who heard your words and felt betrayed?" Twitter lit up like a forest fire. "Karoline just went there. Polanski live on The View." The audience couldn't look away. "You say I represent what's wrong with America," Karoline continued, voice tightening. "But I stand here, a 27-year-old woman defending my faith, my family, my principles, while you protect Hollywood friends who abuse their power." The tension turned radioactive. Whoopi opened her mouth, but no words came. Sunny Hostin touched her arm gently, as if to say, "Let it go." But Karoline wasn't finished. "This isn't about age or race or legacy. It's about truth. You say you're a fighter, Whoopi, so fight fair, own your past, and stop rewriting it when it gets uncomfortable." A slow, stunned applause broke out. Even viewers at home could feel the shift. This wasn't an ambush, it was an audit, and Karoline had just called for the receipts. Backstage, a junior producer turned to her supervisor. "This just became the biggest episode of the year." The supervisor didn't answer. He was already on the phone with the network president. "Do you think mainstream media has become an echo chamber that silences certain voices?" Share your experiences in the comments section. While the credits for The View hadn't even rolled yet, social media was already ablaze. On Twitter, #Karoline shutdown Whoopi trended #1 within minutes. Reaction clips flooded TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. One specific line, "You paved the way, Whoopi, but now you're blocking it," had already been memeified and stitched over powerful instrumental music. Fox News aired a breaking headline within the hour. Karoline Leavitt flips The View, live, unscripted, and unapologetic. CNN attempted to walk a careful line. Tense exchange between Whoopi Goldberg and Karoline Leavitt goes viral. But online, the public wasn't interested in balance. They picked sides, fast and loudly. In a cafe in Texas, a group of young conservative college students re-watched the moment on loop, yelling, "That's our girl!" In a Manhattan office, two liberal staffers whispered, "She really went there." And Whoopi didn't recover. Backstage, Karoline stood alone near a water cooler, her hands still shaking, whether from adrenaline or focus. Even she wasn't sure. Her aide approached cautiously. "Fox just invited you to prime time." Karoline looked down at her phone. Texts flooded in. One from her husband simply read, "Proud doesn't even cover it." Then came the text that made her pause. "Call from President Trump." She stepped into a quiet corner and picked up. "Karoline," his familiar voice rang out, "you just did what no one else has managed. You exposed the media's queen and made America watch. Thank you, Mr. President. I didn't plan it like this. Doesn't matter. You were ready. And now they know you're not just a spokesperson. You're a fighter. As she hung up, Karoline felt something shift. Not just in the studio, but in her entire political trajectory. She had entered The View as a guest. She left as a national force. Meanwhile, Whoopi sat quietly in her dressing room. Her team buzzed around her. Publicists scrambling. PR statements drafted. She stared at the mirror. For the first time in years, she wasn't sure if the audience was still hers. If this story of courage against overwhelming odds resonates with you, be sure to like and subscribe. We decode cultural moments that reshape America's conversation. By the time Karoline walked out of the View studio and into the bright Manhattan sunlight, she was no longer just a guest who sparred with a host. She had become a catalyst. A lightning rod. A name suddenly being whispered in green rooms, shouted in living rooms, and plastered across every major media outlet in America. Her phone hadn't stopped buzzing since she left the building. Ben Shapiro posted a 5-minute breakdown. Karoline didn't just stand up to Whoopi. She dismantled her narrative. Calmly, intelligently, and with receipts. This is what backbone looks like. Candace Owens tweeted. This girl has more guts than half of DC. We've been waiting for her. But it wasn't just the conservative side that reacted. MSNBC ran a panel calling Karoline's approach calculated aggression wrapped in charm, warning that her style was dangerously effective. And Whoopi? She issued a vague response via her publicist. Ms. Goldberg stands by her beliefs and her long record of speaking out for justice. She appreciates the spirited conversation. The statement didn't land. In fact, it sounded hollow, because America had seen the full exchange. They watched Karoline, 27, soft-spoken but iron-willed, hold her ground not with shouting but with questions. Questions Whoopi had no answers for. That night, Karoline was booked on Fox Prime, facing Laura Ingraham. She wore the same blue blazer, the silver cross still gleaming at her collar. Her posture was straight, her voice measured, but the fire hadn't dimmed. I wasn't trying to go viral, she said, but I won't apologize for defending truth, especially when others try to erase it. Laura leaned forward, grinning. You didn't just defend it, you owned that room. Clips of Karoline on The View played beside her as the segment aired. In real time, her follower count exploded, tens of thousands pouring in. Meanwhile, on TikTok, a new trend had started. Young women, mostly conservative Gen Z, posting selfies with captions like, I don't scream, I do what Karoline did. Hashtag Karoline Scourge. Hashtag Truth Out. The movement had begun, but so had the backlash. A trending piece on the Daily Beast accused Karoline of being, quote, a puppet for far-right power players. Others called her a Trump PR stunt. But none could deny she had struck a nerve that reached far beyond studio lights. Even Saturday Night Live scrambled to rewrite their opening sketch for the weekend. Karoline was now a household name. Would you stand up for your beliefs, even if it meant confronting a media titan on their own turf? Let us know in the comments below. In her hotel room, Karoline stood by the window overlooking the city. The view was stunning, but what lay ahead of her was far more compelling. She wasn't just fighting Whoopi. She was fighting an entire system of media echo chambers, and for the first time, she knew she could win. Not with anger, but with clarity. The next morning, the New York Times ran a front-page story with a single-word headline, Unfiltered. Beneath it, a still image from The View, Karoline leaning forward, her hand raised slightly, her expression unwavering. Across the table, Whoopi frozen mid-blink, caught between response and retreat. Inside the article, critics and supporters alike dissected what had happened, but one thing was agreed upon. Karoline Leavitt had changed the rules of political TV forever. It wasn't just what she said, a media analyst wrote. It's how she said it. Controlled, precise, surgical. It wasn't chaos, it was strategy. By noon, Karoline had received invitations to appear on The Joe Rogan Experience, Real Time with Bill Maher, and The Breakfast Club. 3 totally different worlds, yet all suddenly curious about this young woman who had flipped the table on daytime royalty. Her team sat in the conference room of her temporary Manhattan office, the TV muted but flashing her name repeatedly. They want you in LA by Friday, her communications director said. You're leading every headline. Karoline looked calm, but her mind raced. She wasn't interested in a publicity tour. She wanted to use this moment for something bigger. She turned to her team. I don't want this to be about clout. I want it to be about courage. Let's launch something, a campaign, a platform. And that's how #SpeakFree was born. That same day, Karoline posted a video from her hotel balcony, dressed in simple blue with the wind tugging at her hair. I stood up because I was tired of watching the truth get twisted. But this isn't just my fight. It's yours too. If you've ever been shouted down for your beliefs, silenced because your story didn't fit the script, this is for you. Speak up. Speak free. The video hit 10 million views in 24 hours. Across the country, young people, many of them women, shared their own short videos, finishing Karoline's message with their personal stories. My teacher told me faith didn't belong in school. I stayed quiet. Not anymore. They laughed when I said I supported secure borders. They don't laugh now. They said being conservative made me heartless. I say it made me strong. The hashtag exploded. #SpeakFree grew. Karoline was right. Truth doesn't shout. Even public figures who normally avoided politics posted messages of support. Country singer Kelsey James tweeted, "Didn't know who Karoline was before. Now I'd vote for her tomorrow." Meanwhile, in her dressing room at ABC Studios, Whoopi stared at the screen as clip after clip rolled. Karoline's face, her voice, her moment. She didn't say anything, just reached for a glass of water, her fingers trembling slightly. Her co-host, Joy, walked in. "They're calling it the media mic drop of the year," she said dryly. Whoopi didn't smile. She turned to the mirror, adjusted her scarf, and whispered to herself, "This isn't over." But deep down, she knew something had shifted. Not just in the conversation, but in the culture. And Karoline was now the voice millions wanted to follow. If you believe in speaking truth, even when your voice shakes, subscribe now. We bring you the stories that mainstream media won't touch. 2 days after Karoline's showdown with Whoopi, the halls of Capitol Hill were anything but calm. In a closed-door meeting room, a group of senior Democratic strategists gathered, grim expressions on their faces, as they watched a loop of The View exchange on a mounted screen. "She went after Whoopi like a prosecutor," one of them muttered. "And the worst part? She was respectful. People liked it." Across the aisle, the mood couldn't be more different. In a conference room at the RNC headquarters, applause erupted as Karoline's clip played for the 5th time. Her line, "You paved the way, Whoopi, but now you're blocking it," had become a rallying cry. She's not just MAGA's voice, a strategist grinned. She's Gen Z's answer to media elitism. Calls poured into conservative lawmakers' offices. Donors pledged thousands within hours. Even veteran senators whispered to aides, "Keep an eye on her. She's more than press secretary material." Back in New York, Karoline's temporary team worked around the clock. They were no longer organizing media appearances. They were organizing momentum. She met with a group of college conservatives from Columbia, and one question changed everything. How do we fight back when they tell us to sit down? Karoline's answer was simple. You don't sit, you speak. That night, #SpeakFree surged again. A viral video showed Karoline outside a university campus, talking to students. No teleprompter, no filter. "You want to know why they mock us? Because we scare them. We don't chant, we question, we don't follow, we lead." Mainstream networks scrambled. ABC, under pressure from internal divisions, issued a clarification on the View exchange. "While we support spirited conversation, we regret that tensions overshadowed respectful dialogue." Translation: damage control. But the damage was already done, just not the way they thought. Whoopi's aura of untouchable authority had cracked. Not shattered, but definitely bruised. Meanwhile, Karoline received a call from an unexpected source, Elon Musk. "Just wanted to say," he chuckled, "that was efficient. Not many people dismantle an entire narrative in 6 minutes." "I didn't mean to dismantle anything," she replied, "just to be heard." "Well," he said, "you were loud and clear." Karoline hung up, her mind racing. She never sought to be a disruptor. But now that she had become one, she knew the responsibility was bigger than her ambition. In her hotel, she paced the room, her husband watching from the couch. "You think you started something you can't stop?" he asked gently. Karoline looked out the window, Manhattan's lights blinking like a grid of restless thoughts. "No," she said quietly. "I think I started something they can't stop." The day of Karoline's keynote arrived. The venue, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. The crowd overflowed. Students, veterans, working-class moms, media skeptics. The atmosphere was electric as she stepped onto the sleek stage under a massive American flag. Camera shutters clicked like rain on glass. She wore navy again, but this time paired with a soft gold blouse, her signature silver cross glinting at her collar. She didn't carry notes. She didn't need them. 3 days ago, someone told me I represent what's wrong with America. A pause. The crowd leaned in. I disagree. What's wrong with America is thinking that only certain stories matter, that only the loudest voices deserve to be heard, that if you didn't grow up in Hollywood or Ivy League hallways, your truth is somehow second-rate. Scattered applause built into a rumble. A young woman in the front wiped away a tear. When I stood on that stage with Whoopi Goldberg, I didn't want to win. I wanted to speak. But I realized, for many of us, speaking is winning, because we've been shut out of the conversation for too long. I'm not here to erase her story. I'm here to make sure mine counts too. A beat of silence. We can disagree. We can even argue. But don't you dare say I don't understand struggle because I wear a blazer, or I believe in a border. My parents lived paycheck to paycheck. I worked night shifts during college. I fought my way into every room I've ever entered. The applause surged. They called me a puppet. They said I was too young, too conservative, too Catholic. And maybe I am all of those things. But I'm not afraid. Because truth doesn't need to shout, it just needs to stand. Thunderous applause erupted. Some stood. Others wept. Reporters typed furiously. And in a small apartment in Los Angeles, even Whoopi Goldberg watched in silence. No commentary this time, just thought. Karoline stepped down from the podium slowly, her husband waiting at the edge of the stage, hand outstretched. She took it. Behind her, the banner now read not just Leadership Forum, it read A Voice That Matters. If you believe in a media landscape where all voices count, not just the loudest or most established, then hit subscribe and join our community of truth tellers. Later that night, #Karoline2028 trended globally. Supporters called for her to run for Senate. News anchors called it a defining moment in Gen Z conservatism. And critics had no playbook for what they'd just witnessed. This wasn't just a story about politics. It was about power, voice, legacy, and who gets to write history. And Karoline Leavitt had proven she didn't need permission to hold the pen. Some people just talk. But some, when they speak, the world goes silent. In this story, Karoline didn't just respond. She drew the line. Faith, freedom, and courage. It might sound cliché, but those 3 words silenced a media giant. And today, that's exactly what we witnessed. A young woman standing up for what she believes in. Karoline Leavitt reminded us, silence isn't always kindness. Sometimes it's surrender. But one sentence, spoken with conviction, can become the voice of millions. If this story moved you, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Here at Karoline Now, every story reveals a deeper truth about our political landscape. See you in the next episode.